Okay guys, I'm just going to make a quick video review for Stamps Tarantulas. Anybody that follows my blog knows that I have a few main people that I usually order from. Stamps has quickly become one of them. Carries a fantastic selection of tarantulas, especially some of the harder to find ones, the more exotic ones, a lot of pamphos, Formictopus species, things of that nature. I got my H. pulchripes from him. And I've been pleased every single time I've purchased from him. His prices are usually good, and he usually has monthly, if not sometimes weekly, newsletter specials where things are either on sale or you get a discount. So people who keep an eye on those newsletters, who join his newsletter and get the newsletter and keep an eye on it, you can find some pretty good deals. And it happened to be in one of the latest newsletters that I noticed that he had a pair, or 3 pairs actually, of Formictopus species blues, which I'd never heard of, believe it or not. I love the Formictopus. I've talked about them quite a bit. I've got a few Formictopus species featured in my YouTube videos. And when I heard that it was a blue and did some research, I'm like, yep, I have to have these. So very cool thing, because I emailed him about them, and this is just something that shows that the guy takes care of what he does. I emailed about him and said I hadn't heard about him. Could he get me some information? And before he sold them to me, he actually did some homework and sent me some photos of them. Really went out of his way to make sure that I was comfortable buying these, because again, one of the things I've talked about with the Formictopus species is the genus is kind of a mess right now, and I got a funny feeling a lot of these color versions, they have species purple, I just bought species green, now I have species blue. I have a funny feeling a lot of these guys are going to turn out to just be subspecies or different color variations, local color variations of other ones. Still, I love my Formictopus species, and I couldn't resist having possibly a blue one, especially a female and a male. So I bought from Stamps. I believe this is either my 3rd or 4th time. Always been pleased with what I get. And the one time there was a hiccup in an order, and again, I don't bring this up to be negative. This is a positive thing in my opinion. A lot of vendors are great when things go well, and then something goes wrong. Either something's out of stock, or there's a problem with shipping, and that's when they show their true colors. And I had a situation where I brought my H. pulchripes where there was a slight mix-up, and Steven went well above and beyond to make sure I was satisfied. I mean, it ended up being one of the best tarantula purchases I ever made. Fantastic deal. And he really, you could tell he really wanted to make sure I was left feeling happy about the purchase. And as a result, I will be buying from him again many, many, many times in the future. So I'm going to go ahead. I already kind of started ripping this box open. I usually have them held at my local FedEx, because it happens to be only about 5 minutes away from the school I work at, which is very convenient. So I already started opening this one, so let's tear it open. Unfortunately, I have nobody here to help me tape this time. My kids are still in school. I'm going to pop this open. Now, as you can see, a well-packed box. Sorry again for this. Open it up. I have my receipt. And we have foam, as all boxes should. It's starting to get cold around here, so you want to make sure you have the foam. Paper. Box is obviously well padded. Everything I've gotten from the tarantulas have been in great shape, so I really don't expect anything different. Carefully work these out. My FedEx lady today was apparently feeling like she was in a good mood, and when I came to pick up my animals, she made a comment that one of the spiders had escaped and caused me a great deal of panic for a minute. And she's like, "Oh, I'm just joking." These are always wrapped so well that I never foresee any problem like that happening. All right, let's take these out, lay them down. Then we have 2 large vials, well packed. We have clearly labeled female, and this may seem it may seem like it goes without saying to label these, but I've actually bought a pair once before where they weren't labeled, and it was kind of frustrating. So female, and I believe this one's 3 inches. Species blue male. I think everybody's A-okay. And as you can see, a good packing job, and obviously the foam lined box, because again, temperatures outside not actually conducive to shipping spiders, especially now it's the temperature's dropped a little bit. Luckily, we're still above freezing, so no heat pack was really necessary. It's been getting down to 40s or so. And I will be posting in a moment. I will do the rehousing again. Unfortunately, I don't have Sid or Roan, my son or my daughter here. Okay, Well, I ended up stopping the last video because as I was trying to hold the camera with one hand and move stuff around with the other, it flipped the viewfinder, so it was going a long ways. I figured it would mess it up. So hopefully I'll be able to splice these two together. But here is the Formictopus species blue female. I've already taken her out of the pill bottle, kind of unraveled the paper, and hopefully I'll be prodding her out into her new home. If you notice the new home, it's just a Sterilite shoebox. I love these things, and there's plenty of ventilation in it. One side is damp, the bottom levels are damp. As I've said about the Formictopus species, they seem to do well in damp or dry conditions. You will have a water ball. So I stress that they will, oh, it's actually already in there. That's one for the other one. So I stress that you should give these guys water balls, and that way you don't have to worry too much if the substrate dries out a bit. These guys can be pretty frisky. I haven't worked with the blues before, but I know some of the other species can be a little feisty. So I'm going to try to prod her into her home and off the paper towel in a moment. Look over here. Let's see if we can get a little close up of her. Looks like she's done some hair kicking. Don't blame her. There she is. I can already tell these, obviously they're not blue yet. They will be bluish as adults. But I can already tell that this is a slightly different shade than some of my other Formictopus species, which is cool. There she is. So I will probably post a full husbandry video on these later on, but for the time being, here she is in her closure. So another great purchase from Stamps Tarantula. Thanks, Stephen. Again, it's always a pleasure ordering from him. I will continue to order from him, especially because I've got a couple pamphlets I got my eyes on, and I've already bought a couple from him. So there will be more purchases in the future. So anybody looking to grab some teas, especially some of the more exotic ones, and wants to get a good deal on them, definitely check out Stamps Tarantulas. I'm going to go prod this girl in her home, so I'm going to stop the video now so I can make sure I have both hands on and don't do something reckless. Adios.